Dolls have been beloved childhood companions, but some dolls, they hide dark secrets. These dolls are not just toys, they're vessels of the unknown. Let's uncover 5 of the most spine-chilling cases of haunted dolls you won't believe exist. Let's start with the queen of all haunted dolls, Annabelle. Contrary to the movies that are part of the Conjuring universe, Annabelle doesn't appear to be some scary doll better suited for a haunted house. Annabelle was a gift to a student nurse in 1970. The nurse and her roommates took care of the doll and treated her a bit like a human. Then the weird stuff started happening. The doll would move, seemingly on her own. It might be a slightly different, yet noticeable position. This creepy stuff started to escalate into malicious. Seriously frightened, the girls called the Warrens. The Warrens took the doll, enclosed her in glass from a church, and put up the famous "Do Not Touch" sign up. When paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren got involved, they discovered the doll wasn't possessed by a child's spirit, but by a demonic entity. Annabelle now resides in a locked glass case, blessed regularly by a priest, to prevent her evil influence from spreading. You may know Annabelle from the Conjuring films, but the real Annabelle is far more terrifying than fiction. Next, we head to Canada to meet Mandy the Doll, a 100-year-old antique with a ghostly presence. Donated to the Quesnel Museum in British Columbia in 1991, Mandy quickly became infamous. Museum staff reported hearing mysterious baby cries and finding things moved or missing around Mandy. The doll is known for causing unease, and many visitors claim they feel watched or even touched by something unseen when they're near her. Mandy now sits alone in her glass case, separated from other dolls because of her paranormal tendencies. The movie Mandy the Doll 2018 is a low-budget horror film centered around a haunted doll. The film draws loosely on the real-life legend of Mandy the Doll, an actual haunted doll that resides in a museum in Canada, although the movie takes liberties with the story for the sake of fiction and cinematic suspense. Robert the Doll, a notorious haunted doll residing in Key West, Florida, at the Fort East Martello Museum. The doll's origins trace back to the early 1900s when it was gifted to a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto, known as Gene, by a servant. Some stories suggest the doll was cursed using voodoo as revenge for mistreatment of the servant. Gene quickly formed an unusual bond with the doll, dressing it in his clothes and naming it after himself. Over time, strange occurrences began surrounding Robert. The family reported furniture moving, and Gene often blamed Robert for destructive incidents, famously saying, "Robert did it." Neighbors also claimed to see the doll moving in windows or hear eerie laughter. Even after Gene grew up and returned to live in his childhood home, Robert continued to exhibit disturbing behavior, leading to widespread belief that the doll was possessed or cursed. Visitors in the museum still report odd experiences, such as cameras malfunctioning, seeing Robert's expression change, or feeling an eerie presence. Hundreds of letters have been sent to the museum by visitors who beg Robert's forgiveness and ask him to remove his curse. The doll has become an attraction for ghost hunters and enthusiastic people who would love to meet Robert. There is a movie based on the real story of Robert the Doll. However, this film is massively disappointing. Stilted, wooden acting and continuity mistakes mean that it's more of a comedy than a horror. Let Me Out the Doll, commonly referred to as Leta the Doll, a mysterious and allegedly haunted doll with a somewhat eerie backstory. The doll gained notoriety after being discovered in the 1970s by a man named Kerry Walton in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, Australia. Kerry Walton was reportedly exploring an abandoned house with his brother when he found the doll in the cellar. Strangely drawn to the doll, he decided to take it home with him. After taking it back, he claimed to experience unusual and paranormal occurrences, leading him to believe the doll was haunted. Walton believes the doll might be over 200 years old and potentially of Eastern European or Romani origin. It is crafted in a way that suggests it's a marionette doll. Walton has said that experts and psychics who've examined the doll suggest it has a spirit attached to it, and some claim the spirit's name is Leta. Walton and others have claimed the doll causes a range of supernatural activities. These include objects moving on their own, strange noises, and feelings of dread or fear in those who encounter the doll. Some people even report that the doll's facial expression changes, and animals tend to react negatively around it. The doll has since become famous as one of the most well-known haunted objects in Australia, with Walton often sharing its story in interviews and public appearances. The Shadow Doll is one of the most unsettling artifacts in the Warrens Occult Museum, a museum founded by famous paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The doll is said to have a dark and sinister history, linked to occult rituals and malevolent forces. The doll itself is eerie and is made of real human bones, and some parts, such as the teeth and nails, are made from animals. According to the Warrens, the Shadow Doll has been used to harm people through nightmares. It is said that if you take a photograph of the doll and then look at it, you could experience nightmarish visions. The doll itself is not necessarily possessed by a spirit, but rather, it is considered a vessel through which dark entities can work. The museum, located in Monroe, Connecticut, was once open to the public, but due to legal and zoning issues, it closed in 2019. The doll is still said to be locked away, presumably under blessed protection to prevent its malevolent influence from spreading. Dolls are meant to bring comfort and joy, but these dolls, they bring something much darker: fear, misfortune, and the unexplained. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, one thing's for sure: these haunted dolls will continue to send shivers down our spines. Do you dare visit any of these haunted dolls? Let us know in the comments if you think you could handle meeting one in real life.